back with another episode of Pinal's People. Our guest today is Kelli Brown, team leader and founder of the Big House Bombers and the Casa Grande competitive roller derby team. Kelli, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm super thrilled to talk with you. Actually, our arts and entertainment editor, Melissa St. Ode, had said that you would just make a phenomenal guest on the show, and I'm super excited to have you on. So to get started today, could you tell us a little bit about the Casa Grande Roller Derby Club and how it all came about for you?
Well, Casa Grande Roller Derby has been around since 2017. We actually started on Valago basketball court. We had quite a bit of some challenges to find a place that we could call home that would accommodate us. Probably the beginning of 2020, we were able to get this facility. Through that, we've made a lot of changes. We've grown a lot. We've had a lot of support from our community. Our membership has grown. And now we are about to be sanctioned, which is going to be awesome. We've just worked really hard, and it's come full circle over the last 7 years. And it feels like it's only been a couple, but it's been 7 years. That's pretty crazy to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And, I'd love if you could share a little bit, what inspired you to start the club?
So I had a pretty difficult childhood. And I was always on roller skates. I always found some kind of freedom in roller skates. And I started playing roller derby in Phoenix for about 3 years, where I took some leadership roles there. I learned a lot. I learned how to coach, all kinds of things. And it got to be too much of a commute for me, so I decided to retire. Shortly after that, my house burned down. And I had nothing. I lost everything that I owned in that fire. And the one thing that I did have that I felt like couldn't be taken away from me was roller skating. So I put an ad out in the paper and on CG Chat, just a random, hey, does anybody want to learn how to skate and maybe learn some roller derby? And I think we had 7 on our first meet and greet, and then I think we had 6 after that. A lot of those people are still around, which is amazing to see. But yeah, that's pretty much how it came about, is just an ad in the paper and some willing participants who decided to follow me along the journey.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. And so you had mentioned actually your time with the Phoenix area roller derby teams and leagues out there. How could you'd mentioned too that it was sort of something that you got into because of a difficult childhood. Could you share a little bit about what got you interested in roller skating and, how did that passion develop for you?
Roller derby was the spark for me, and the community was the passion. So as we started to embark on this journey, the world can be a pretty crazy place, and from the very beginning for me, especially coming out of a house fire, it's always been about providing safe spaces. Just like anything else, roller derby can be competitive. There's lots of things that it can be, and so one of the main things that was important to me was getting everybody together to provide a space, not only to teach roller skating culture, but one thing that roller derby taught me was that nobody can do it for me but me. And so the spark would be learning all the things that I was capable of. The world tells you that you can't do things, and the world tells you that you're not good at things. And then so quickly you just jump on board and you're like, oh, I can't do that. And then you realize, like, no, I'm stronger than that, and I can do this. And then you keep showing up, and every time you do something you thought you couldn't do, it just sparks something inside of you that makes you want to keep coming back. And then for me, it was about sharing that and just thinking, like, man, if I had roller derby when I was little, my life trajectory could have been a lot different. And so when we came into Casa Grande, it was about roller derby, but we also wanted to give back to our community. We wanted to give back to the 501c3s that make our little town run, and they do, and we've been able to support them. And then we also wanted to provide a space where somebody could come with their family. They could come with their kid and they could roller skate. We have on our Thursday nights outside of roller derby, our non-contact, where we have a father who comes with his daughter, a mom who comes with her daughter, families that come together. So while it has been about roller derby, it has become something that when I walk away from all this, because I play competitively and I love the game, but when I walk away from all this, what meant everything to me and what makes it all worth it is what it provides literally for everybody in this town. And then it has grown so much that within our roller derby community, we have people from Globe that come. We have people from Tempe, Mesa, Tucson. We've created this space where people flock here because it's just more than derby. I don't know how to explain it other than it's more than derby for us. Mm-hmm. And we're grateful. We're grateful for the community that supported us and given us the chance to have this city, for giving us this opportunity to have this space, working with us for 3 years. So yeah, it is. It's more than roller derby, but it has come full circle about the community completely. Not just giving them a place to come and see entertainment, but a safe space to come and challenge ourselves and bring our families and all those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful, actually. I'm really glad that you shared that, Kelli. And, actually, when I was here earlier and I was kind of walking around, I noticed that you guys have all these statements of empowerment, even in the bathrooms. And so, I definitely do feel like there's this energy of, like you mentioned, community, and this energy of sort of empowerment. Could you share, from when you guys started back in 2017 to today, what's kind of been your biggest takeaway as you've seen this organization grow over the years?
Well, we have a saying within our team called "You go, I go," and that is the greatest takeaway. Is I started this with an ad in the paper, and the few that have come, they're still here, and the ones that feel like giving up that day, there's always somebody to help them pull through. There's always somebody, when you go to the bathroom and you need a reset, the mirrors will tell you what's up. Like the greatest takeaway is that it's not just me, it's a whole group of us, and we show up for each other, and that at the end of the day is what it's about, it's a whole collective group that genuinely show up for each other week after week. And even though we have our roller derby, we come and we play really hard, we train really, really hard, but at the end of every practice, we sit in a circle, and it doesn't matter if there's 2 people at practice or there's 25 and it takes an hour. We go in a circle and we talk about our pit and we talk about our peak, whether it's our training, whether it's a pit and peak of our training, or maybe we have something going on in our life. Maybe it's work, maybe it's home, maybe it's, anything under the sun that gives us a space at the end of every practice to come together to speak on the great things going on and the not so great things going on, so that we know how to support each other and we know what's going on in each other's lives. And at the end of the day, that's the takeaway. Mm-hmm. Take all the roller skating and everything out of it, that's the takeaway.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And so you had mentioned earlier that you guys are on the verge of getting sanctioned, and it's with the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, that's correct?
Correct.
So for our audience members who may not be super familiar with derby leagues and how they work, can you explain a little bit about what that association is and what it does for you guys? So there are a couple different games that we could play. What we've been playing are just regulation games. We play by the WFTDA rule set, but we have never been ranked for it. And the WFTDA gives us a chance to play on a regional level. Back before COVID, it was a lot more broad. You could play all over. But coming back from COVID, they're doing it more of a regional ranking system.
So where we played for no ranking before, now when we play an actual sanctioned game, every point counts. The point spread, everything about that game counts toward our ranking. And so at the end of the competitive season, I believe it's the top 12 teams will go to regionals. We started a little bit late in this season. We are coming in at the tail end of the season, so likely we would not even try to go in the runnings for regionals. But the whole point of it for us was we would have teams come and play us, and they were coming from all over. We've had them from Vegas, we've had them from Texas, California. They've been coming from all over the place. And so what the WFTDA means for us is that we get to play at our level, and we get to see what that is. And within that, we get to grow as a team and figure out what we need to do to make changes and celebrate the growth that we have. But at the end of the day, the WFTDA gives us a chance to get on the map, so to speak, within the roller derby world and community. And it also just provides more gameplay opportunities for us as a whole to get us on the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned the idea of getting on the map. What made you guys as a team decide that, and it's obvious that you guys work really hard at this, just from seeing how you speak about it and your passion behind it, and even kind of your explanation of how, what you guys look at the end of a practice session. But I'm curious, what made you guys want to go regional and kind of up the ante when it comes to your competitive scale, if you will? We
work really hard. We train really hard. It was a collective group team effort. While we always played by the rule set, that was never a particular goal of mine. But my team wanted it. They work really hard, and they wanted the opportunity to play at their level, whatever that is, wherever that is at that point in time. And then also just to give us a collective way to see what we're capable of, because we've been about it for the rec part of everything for so long and the community part of everything for so long, but we've always trained really hard. And we work really, really hard. So for me, coming full circle wherever we end up on those rankings, for me as a coach and as this the whole thing has come full circle, to see the hard work of everybody that they put in week after week after week, wherever we end up, I couldn't be more proud of my team. And so this whole sanction thing, it gives us a whole nother level of competitiveness and goals to strive for and all these things, but it also gives us a chance to grow closer through the ups and the downs, and we have a long way to go in terms of learning this whole WFTDA thing. But I am confident that we are going to do awesome things together no matter where we end up and no matter what we do, because at the end of the day, I believe that our team has something that is hard to find amongst teams, and that is that we respect each other, we trust each other, and we work really well together. Whether we are losing, whether it's a blowout, whatever it is, you can come and you can watch our team, and you know that we have an unspoken language. We know what we're going to do without even doing it. We look at each other and we just know. We always try to communicate the best that we can, because as you should if you know roller derby, but something about us is that we just have this unspoken thing. When you watch us, you see it. 100% you see it. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud of that, so.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And so, as you look back over, the last 7 years, what would you say has been kind of the biggest challenge the Roller Derby League has faced?
Oh, man. There's been a lot of them. Over the 7 years, I believe that our biggest challenge was finding a facility that would allow us to operate at our full potential. And so we actually were on a waiting list for this place for close to 3 years before we ever even got it. And so in that time, we were at the fairgrounds, and it worked out but we were always having to go against weddings and quinces and fairs and, you know, you name it. So just getting us a space where we could grow to our potential and give back to our community and do all these things, that has definitely been the biggest challenge for sure.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say has been the biggest success?
Oh man, just everything about it. Everything about it. Just the community, the camaraderie, the outlet, everything that we've talked about in this interview is what makes it successful for me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's amazing. So Kelli, I have one last question for you, and it's a question that we've made it our mission to ask every single guest that's been on the show this year.
Okay.
And so I would love to get your perspective on it. Let's imagine it's many, many years down the line, decades down the line, and you know you've accomplished everything you've wanted to accomplish when it comes to the league's competitiveness. You know, and you feel like you've taken the league as far as you can take it, and you're happy with where it's at. And it's time to pass on the leadership of this organization and this team to you know, the next generation. And if everything you've done, everything you've accomplished, you can only pass along one lesson or piece of advice, what would it be?
It would be stay true to your integrity. Stay true to your integrity and make it about the community. Don't forget what it's really about. That's what I would say. Don't get lost in the sport. Make it about the community. Stay to your integrity.
Perfect. Kelli Brown, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.